Hi, and welcome to my video on transformations on the unit circle part 2. The unit circle. The unit means 1, so the unit circle has a center, which is 0, 1, and it also has a radius equal to 1, because unit means 1. So the equation of a circle is x minus h all squared and y minus k all squared equals r squared. So if the center is 0, 0, h is 0 and k is 0. So we sub 0 in. And again, just review of what's happening. And the radius is 1, so it's 1 squared. So that's an x squared, y squared equals 1. So it's just another way to derive the equation, derive the equation of a unit circle. So let's find the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts of a unit circle is when we let y equal 0 in the equation. So x squared plus y squared equals 1. So x-intercepts, we let y equal 0. So that becomes x squared equals 1. So the square root of x squared equals plus minus the square root of 1. So x equals plus minus 1. So that means when x is 1, y is 0. And when x is negative 1, y is 0. We start off with y equals 0 when that's the two ordered pairs. So those two ordered pairs, we'll put them in the graph after. Now let's find the y-intercepts. So the x-intercepts when y is 0, so the y-intercepts is when we let x equals 0. So the y-intercepts is where it cuts the y-axis and the x-coordinate is 0. And the x-intercepts is when y is 0, so the x-intercept is cutting the x-axis when the y-coordinate is 0. So the equation x squared plus y squared equals 1. X equals 0, sub it in. And we got y squared equals 1. Square root of y squared is plus minus the square root of 1. So y equals plus minus 1. So we have two ordered pairs. And we have x equals 0, y is 1. And x is 0, y is negative 1. So let's put these on the circle here. Or we can put them in a table of values, but let's start at 0 right here. So this ordered pair right here, x is 1, y is 0. This one right here, x is 0, y is 1. And this point here, so that's a 0, 90, 180. So x is negative 1, y is 0, and 270 starting here, all the way around, right to here. This ordered pair is 0, negative 1. So when I do a table of values on the unit circle, I put in the ordered pairs of 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. So that's the ordered pairs I'm going to use when we do a graphing a unit circle by transformations. So let's look at the mapping notation for a circle. So we have the equation of a circle in the standard form center radius. So the center is h comma k with a radius of r. So if we divide each part of the equation by r squared, so we get x minus h all squared over r squared plus y minus k squared over r squared equals 1. So this is the initial form right here that before we divided by r squared was the standard form. This is the transformational form equal to 1. And notice the radius is r, so we're dividing by r squared. So we talked about the horizontal stretch and the vertical stretch. The horizontal stretch is equal to the vertical stretch equal to the radius. So if we look at this form, then the mapping rule for this form, the center, this is the unit circle, x comma y, and we have an r times x plus h and an r times y plus k. Notice the center is the opposite. Negative h is an h, negative k is a k, and the stretch is rx, r times x, r times y. So let's write some mapping rules for each of these equations. So state the mapping rule for each circle. First, state the transformational form. So to get the transformational form, we have to divide by 9. When we do, we get x squared over 9 plus y squared over 9 equals 1. So you can see that the mapping rule, x comma y, we can see that we have the horizontal stretch is 3 and the vertical stretch is 3. That's the square root of both of these. So we get that if we want this equation, r, so we get r x plus h, comma, r y plus k. So the mapping rule becomes 3, radius is 3, and notice the center is 0, 0, so that makes it a 0 here. And we have a 3 for the radius times y, and the k is 0. That's the h and the k. So there's the mapping rule for this equation. The center is 0, 0 with a radius of 3. And right here, we divide by 25. We want to get the transformational form. So we have x minus 1 all squared over 25. Y plus 4 all squared over 25 equals 1. So we can see the center is 0, 0. Oh, center is 0, 0. That was for this one. The center is opposite of negative 1, sorry, is 1. And the opposite of plus 4 is a minus 4. Gotta be careful. And the radius is square root of 25, which is 5. So the mapping rule, x comma y, which that's the unit circle when we go to graph, unit circle table of values. And we have radius 5 times x, and that's a 1 plus 1. And the radius is 5 times y minus 4. So the center, whatever the coordinates of the center are, that's the translations that's occurring. So it's 1 to the right, 4 down. That the unit circle is moving with a stretch of 5. And let's do another one. We divide by 16. And we have x plus 2 squared over 16. Y minus 3 squared over 16 equals 1. Again, the center is, and that's a plus 2, so it's a minus 2. And that's a minus 3, so it's a plus 3. The radius is square root of 16, which is 4. So the mapping rule for this circle, we're going to graph it by the mapping rule. 4 is the radius times x minus 2, and 4y plus 3. Just give you some practice in writing out the mapping rule, because we're going to graph using the mapping rule. So here we go. Graph each using the mapping rule. Remember, we could graph this circle easy by saying we have a center of 3, negative 1, and a radius of square root of 4 is 2. So we could go down and plot the center and do a radius of 2 to the right, 2 to the left, 2 up, 2 down, and draw the circle. We could do it that way, which is faster, but I just want to use and show you about the mapping rule. So we divide the equation by 4. So the equation is x minus 3 all squared over 4. Y plus 1 squared over 4 equals 1. So we have a center, which is 3, negative 1. Opposite of negative 3 is 3. Opposite of plus 1 is a minus 1. And the radius is square root of 4, which is 2. So the mapping rule is x comma y. and we got the radius, which is 2 times x plus 3. And we have the radius, which is 2 times y minus 1. So, if we take the unit circle and let's use this table of values for the unit circle. The unit circle was, if you think about it, just draw it quickly. Just keep the unit circle is 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. So 1, 0, x is 0, y is 1, x is negative 1, y is 0, and right here x is 0, y is negative 1. So the mapping rule is 2x plus 3, 2y minus 1. So we take these values and sub them in here. So we take 1 and sub them in. 2 times 1 plus 3 is 5. Put a 0 in. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. Put a negative 1 in. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 3 is 1. And we put 0 in, we get a 3. Put 0 in for y, we get negative 1. Put 1 in for y, 2 minus 1 is 1. Put 0 in, we get a negative 1. And we put a negative 1 in, we get a negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So the unit circle, remember, is moved 3 right, 1 down with a radius of 2. Let's see what happens. So we have the point 5, negative 1. So there's 5, and there's negative 1. And we have 3, 1. X is 3, y is 1, which is right there. We have x is 1, y is negative 1, right here. And we have x is 3, y is negative 3. X is 3, y is negative 3. So there's the circle. And notice the center is 3, negative 1 is right. The center is the midpoint of the horizontal axis and the midpoint of the vertical axis. So the center is right there at 3, negative 1. So here's the circle. And we graphed it by a mapping rule. And again, the fast way to graph a circle is plot the center of 3, negative 1. Right here, x is 3, negative 1. And the radius is 2, so we go 2 right, 2 left, 2 up, 2 down, and draw a circle to those 4 points. That's the fast way. But I wanted to explain it with the what we call the mapping notation. And we have one more to do. And again, if you want to pause the video and work this out before I do, go ahead. Now we have to divide by 9. So we have x plus 2 squared over 9. Y squared over 9 equals 1. So notice this is the horizontal stretch, which is 9. So the horizontal stretch is the radius. So the radius is the square root of 9, 3. So the horizontal stretch is 3. And the vertical stretch is the square root of 9, which is 3. They're both equal because it's a circle. The center of the circle is negative 2, 0. And the radius is the square root of 9, which is 3. So we have a mapping rule, this x comma y. And we have 3 is the radius, is 3x minus 2. And there's a 3y minus 0, which is just 3y. So this is the unit circle right here. And so the coordinates of the unit circle. And again, I always like to draw it so I won't make an error. So right here at 0 is 1, 0. This is 0, 1. This is negative 1, 0. And this is 0, negative 1. So now I can't make a mistake. I look here and get 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 1, 0, negative 1. Remember, we did a lot of work on this one when we did the unit circle when we're doing the trig. The trig, we use these values, because when you do trig, x is cos and sine is y, so that's 0 degrees. The cos of 0 would be 1, which is the x. The sine of 0 degrees is 0, because x is the cos, sine is the y on the unit circle. So we plug, now let's get back to the mapping. We got a 3x minus 2 and a 3y. So we take these ordered pairs of values of x and sub in here. 1, 3 minus 2 is 1. 0 gives me 0 minus 2. We got a negative 1 going in, so we got a negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. And we got a 0 going in, so we get a negative 2. 0, whatever 0 is here, should be same here. Now I'm going to put a 0 in right here. 3 times 0 is 0. Put a 1 in, I get a 3. Put a 0 in, I get a 0. And put a negative 1 in, I get a negative 3. So I plot those ordered pairs. 1, 0. X is 1, y is 0. Right there. X is negative 2. Y is 3. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3. X is negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5, 0, right there. And we have negative 2, negative 3. X is negative 2. Y is negative 3. So there's the 4 points. And remember, the center is negative 2, 0. So there's the center right there. And the center is the midpoint of the endpoints of the horizontal diameter, and it's the midpoint of the vertical diameter. So this point is in the middle of these two, and the middle of these two. So here's the circle. I'm going to say this is not a unit circle because the radius is 5. So the circle, there's the center of negative 2, 0. And you go, the radius is 3. So this is a circle whose center is negative 2, 0 with a radius of 3. Let's see. 3 to the right, 3 to the left, 3 up, 3 down. And we graphed it using the mapping rule. And that brings us an end to changing the standard form to transformational form and graphing using the mapping rule. And if you like my video, click the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of some help to you. Bye-bye.